NASCAR driver as long as he is still racing, and I'll continue to be a fan of his and support him with whatever he decides to do. I'll leave it with this, and then we'll talk about Bowman. I just get a sinking feeling that there's something bigger behind this, and that things might be changing. I really, really hope that I'm wrong, and I hope that if you listen to the podcast, you're not sitting back going, "Don't say those things, John." And look, everything happens for a reason, right? I'm a firm believer in that. And I want to see Dale Earnhardt Jr. get back into that race car with all the confidence in the world, win races, and go out and win a championship just as much, if not more, than you do. But I'm also kind of pragmatic and trying to be real about things. And, you know, this may be bigger than racing now for Dale Earnhardt Jr. And you know, it may be time where he's, you know, reevaluating and taking stock in things. We really won't know until we hear from him and we have more information. So, you know, that's all the speculating that I'm going to do. But I've said my prayers for Junior and for Amy and his family, and I hope nothing but the best for him. He's an amazing person, and that's why I do this podcast every week and why I'm a fan. So, for some bizarre reason, Dale Earnhardt Jr. hears this. Hey, you know the fans are out there. We're praying for you. Whatever the decision is that you make. I know his fans will 100% be, your fans will be 100% behind you. I absolutely know that. All right, let's talk a little bit about Alex Bowman. I'm excited. Alex Bowman is from my hometown of Tucson. So for me, it's, in being selfish, I'd much rather see Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that car, but knowing that I got a local boy in Alex Bowman, in the 88, it's the best circumstance for me as a fan that could have happened to keep me excited for the race on Sunday. So I've got a guy that's from my town here of Tucson that's racing for Dale Earnhardt Jr., and to me, that's cool. So I'll be following and listening in on TJ and Alex on Sunday during this race and keeping my expectations in check. Look, I followed Alex during all the practices, and they didn't qualify terribly. Practice was okay. His speeds, his top 10 lap averages were in the 15 to 20s. Kind of lingered there for the practices. He seems pretty confident with the car and thinks they're going to have a good day, but look, you got to keep your expectations in check. I want the best for him. I have no expectation he's going to be able to go out there and compete for a top 5 or maybe even a top 10. I think, realistically speaking, I will be excited and happy if he's able to, keep the 88 on the lead lap and, finish out the race with a top 20 or a top 15. Anything beyond that, is awesome. But I'm not expecting anything more than that. I think he's a good driver, but there are so many factors involved right now that Alex has to deal with. The pressure of being in Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car, working with a different crew chief. He's got 71 starts in a sprint car, so that's really good. But you're being thrown into this situation, and it's difficult. So I think that, again, my expectation, keep it on the lead lap, Alex, and come home with a top 20, top 15, and if you do better than that, then fantastic. But I'll be rooting for him on Sunday. I think that's what Dale Earnhardt Jr. would want us to do. So that's my expectation for the number 88 with Alex Bowman behind it, and I'm excited to see him watch it. I hope he does a great job. He seems like a really cool kid. Dale Earnhardt Jr. wants him behind the car. That's behind the wheel of his car. That's enough for me. Before I wrap this up, something just popped up, and it's funny. I say that everything happens for a reason. I have J-Ski open right now, and I was reading my notes, and the story of Dale Earnhardt Jr. from J-Ski, and there was another story that covers this on J-Ski, and my page refreshed for no reason. It'll do that sometimes. And that other story popped up. I didn't plan on this, but let me read this to you and add this one little point before we wrap up the podcast this week. So, Hampshire Motorsports had a press conference, right, or earlier. That was on Friday, right? It was on Friday, yeah. Hampshire Motorsports general manager said Doug Ducard, the crew chief, right? General manager Doug Ducard, the 88 crew chief Greg Ives, and Alex Bowman talked to the media at New Hampshire. And these are some of the notes that were taken. After Junior continued to feel bad at Kentucky, the initial plan was for him to start this weekend's New Hampshire race and be relieved by Bowman. Friday afternoon, it was determined that Earnhardt Jr. would not be able to race at all this weekend. Ducart says they won't speculate on the long-term impact of this on Earnhardt's career. Should Earnhardt not be able to race next week, Jeff Gordon will drive the 88 Indianapolis. The 88 driver after Indianapolis, if needed, has not been determined. A decision will be made around Wednesday. Earnhardt will need approval from an independent board-certified neurologist before he is allowed to return. Okay, so let me just wrap up on this. This is interesting because it sounds like he was planning on starting the race and letting Alex get into it, which, again, just speculating, would indicate that they didn't think it was as bad as they said it was, but it was determined that he would not be able to race at all this weekend. So let me wrap up on a positive note. Looking at that, it sounds to me like this isn't quite as bad as maybe we think that it is, and maybe it's along the same lines of what I said, that there was a possibility he suffered another concussion, he was having the symptoms, let's err on the side of caution, start the race, let Alex get into it, and the doctor said, it's best if you don't get in the car at all. So, makes me feel a little bit better reading that. I'm still going to say, just for the sake of my own disappointment, that Dale Jr. does sit out at Indy and Jeff Gordon gets in the car. That one to me just seemed like they expect that he's not, and they want to do what's best for the sport. It could just be that Jeff volunteered, and that was the end of it. There was no other further thought. But it just sticks out to me that Jeff would come out of retirement to run that race. It is Indy, though, right? Okay. So with that, let's wrap this up. Dale Jr., nothing but prayers out to you, Amy, and the family. Get better on your own timetable. The fans will be here waiting for you when you return. And I'm getting emotional just saying those things. You're going to be missed this weekend. There's no doubt about that. And we all just want what is best for you. And we'll continue to support you, whatever your decisions are, and be your fans. Until then, I hope that Alex has a great weekend. Normally, I'd wrap up with Go Junior. This week, we'll just simply wrap up with Go Alex. And hopefully, next weekend for the Race Preview Podcast, we're talking about Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s return to the 88 car at Indy, and we have some good news to share. Either way, I'll be with you again next weekend. Thanks for checking out the podcast. If you want to drop me an email, talkshownerd@gmail.com, talkshownerd@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter at Jon Justice. Follow me on iTunes. Drop a rating if you will, and have yourself a great race weekend, and take care of yourself this week. We'll talk to you next week on the preview podcast for Dale Jr. and Indianapolis. Bye.
My Nerd World.
And finally, one of the most unusual pre-race prayers you will ever hear.
Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight for all your blessings. You said in all things give thanks. So we want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you've brought